And tonight we continue to do what the mainstream media will not do, and that is vet the president. Now, back in 2008, President Obama promised that if elected, he would bring hope and change to the country. Well, my next guest says we got the change that he promised, but none of it is for the better. Now, after thoroughly examining this president's numerous executive orders, questionable appointments, David Limbaugh reached one conclusion, and that is the president's administration is waging war on the American way of life. Now, his latest sure-to-be bestseller is being hailed as the definitive indictment against the Obama administration. He joins me now in studio to explain why. David, always good to see you. How are you?
Good.
By the way, and for those, I've said this before, you've done work for me over the years as an attorney, full disclosure, or else Howie Kurtz will have a heart attack. You know, I want to play something because you even mentioned this in the book. In the first chapter in the book is the war on America.
Right.
All right. I want to show how Obama blames the American people. We know he blames everybody and anything.
Right.
I want to show he blames the American people for the bad economic news.
We've lost our ambition, our imagination, and our willingness to do the things that built the Golden Gate Bridge and Hoover Dam and unleashed all the potential in this country.
But, you know, we've been a little bit lazy, I think, over the last couple of decades. We've kind of taken for granted, well, people will want to come here, and we aren't out there hungry selling America and trying to attract new businesses into America.
Americans aren't hungry. You know, we've lost our imagination.
You know, it's shameful. Charles Krauthammer said it was ill-conceived, ill-concealed contempt. And it's preposterous for him to go after the American people. He's so narcissistic that he still can't accept responsibility for his own economic policies. You know, he still blames George Bush after 3 years. Now he's talking about the American people being soft and lazy. Let me tell you what they are. The entrepreneurs, they're scared. They're scared to hire because of the massive regulations in Obamacare. There have been surveys saying they're on hold. He has increased regulations in his war on business like we've never seen before, and people are at a standstill. But he doesn't understand the profit motive. He's against profits. He thinks, just hire more people. He goes and gives these speeches. Just hire people. He thinks that you can hire just because you want to as a matter of volition, even if you don't have demand.
Let me ask you this.
For the work.
You've got 100 pages of endnotes and an index in this book. You know, all the research that you've done, I mean, you know, it's exhaustive, frankly, just reading that part of it. But here's my question. When you say war on America, is it that he doesn't believe in capitalism? Is it that he's been sort of indoctrinated into this liberal ideology that he believes it, which is why he won't change? What have you concluded?
I don't think he believes in the American idea. I don't think he believes in our Constitution. He doesn't believe in the constitutional republic. He says democracy's messy. He kind of wishes he had it like China. I know he says that tongue-in-cheek, but he now says he wishes he could get things done as if he had sole power. The thing is, and people forget, he did get things done. He got his way. You've mentioned this on his show, and you've challenged people who've said otherwise. He got Obamacare. He got the stimulus done. He promised unemployment wouldn't go above 8%. He got his way, and it did go above 8%. Now he owns it. Let's hold him accountable.
What do you think it is, though? Is it that the America that, you know, has made us so prosperous and successful? Well, you know, because you go into this about oil, you go into this about the economy, you go into his attacks on conservatives, which are numerous, too numerous to even mention. What is it that he believes? Where does this come from?
Well, I think that he believes that in a more socialistic form of government, that business cannot create jobs without the prompting of the federal government. That's why he gave that Osawatomie speech where he talked about Teddy Roosevelt, on to businesses, antitrust and all that, implying that we conservatives believe in unbridled markets and we wouldn't even regulate under the rule of law or antitrust laws, and that's not true. But we need freedom. We need businesses to operate in a free environment with lower taxes, lower regulations, so that they can do their thing. And he has no idea, has never met a payroll.
After I watched all the research that you did, as I said, is exhaustive. Yeah. What do you fear the most if he were to get reelected? Well,
the things that he's done, even with an election pending in 6 months or so, are frightening. He's still doubling down on his Keynesian spending, on his debt, refusing to rein in the debt, refusing to give us a plan on entitlements, refusing to lead the Senate into giving us a budget after 1,100 or so days. I fear that he would do more administrative in-runs around Congress, more abuses of authority with his executive power, and would create even more debt. And we only have a 2 to 3 year window, according to experts, if you listen to what Paul Ryan says. And that is, I can't emphasize how grave this situation is. We're not just being sensationalistic. We're not being hyperbolic. The future of the country turns on this election.
Do you think this is a turning point election? All right, so here's my next question. Why is it that so many people, you know, fail to recognize the failure that has been his policies? In other words, they defend it to the death. In other words, have the American people shifted their mindset, been conditioned perhaps, to believe that this, you know, spreading the wealth is the answer? And are there too many people dependent on government?
Well, I am more optimistic, and I actually believe that more people than you think, not you, but people think, are still optimistic about the American spirit. And if he gets defeated, there will be an unleashing of optimism like we've never seen before. And I actually think he will be defeated, notwithstanding the fact that 49.5% of the people are not paying income tax anymore. I actually think that people will vote him out. I think he's way less popular than the mainstream media would have us believe, because his record has been an abysmal failure. People can see it.
You know,
terrible failure.
It's funny, as I read your book and you go through everything from the economy, the war on the economy, the war on culture, the war on values, the war on oil, the war on energy, and then national security, you go through this whole thing. I was surprised because and this is why I almost call the book encyclopedic, because it is chapter and verse on his presidency. I found that there was so much I forgot. Do you think people forget? I mean, it's almost been on a daily basis.
No question. We've almost become numb to it because there is such an overwhelming amount of evidence of things that he's done. And I want to be, this is almost humorous. When I finished writing the book, I had probably 12,000 articles in 57 folders. I'm not exaggerating. It was overwhelming. Wrote the book in 5.5 months, went through the editing process. Then I started reading it and preparing for these interviews. And I was overwhelmed reading it again. I can't even remember how am I going to do interviews. There is so much that he's done. And you can read it, and you lived it all, and you're still surprised when you read some of the stuff.
But what it does, you put it all, it puts it all together.
That's the point.
And, well,
I want people to see it together because the evidence is overwhelming. This is our kids' futures we're dealing with, and I'm not making this up to sell books. Of course I want to sell books, but I would not want to sell any book if he gets elected. I mean, I would trade anything for that. Get him defeated. We have to defeat him.
Do you feel that America as we know it goes away?
Yes, we'll lose America for a generation. He's undermining our defense capabilities. He's driving us over the financial cliff. He's got a war on business. He's got a war on oil. He's developing these quixotic economic green boondoggles that throw billions of dollars that are down the drain, corrupt. I mean, it's like something like we've never seen. I can't believe people aren't more up in arms. They will be if they read this book, because the facts are here. 1,300 footnotes. It's all there.
All right. The Great Destroyer. David Limbaugh. Great to see you.
Thank you so much.
And his nationally syndicated column is available on most of the big websites, conservative sites. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
All right, time